Hi, I'm Ellen from the Chili Dog, and today I'm going to help you answer the age-old question. Which way should I slip a stitch? Knitwise or purlwise? With 3 quick tips. Tip number 1. If a pattern specifically says to slip knitwise or purlwise, just follow the instructions. The designer has likely put a lot of thought into why a stitch or series of stitches should be slipped a certain way, causing them to twist or not twist to create a certain visual effect in the fabric. But sometimes a pattern doesn't specifically say how to slip a stitch. This doesn't mean the designer has put any less thought into the pattern. There are a couple of conventions with slip stitches that are just considered to be industry standards. If you'd like to check out a very helpful and free resource, the Craft Yarn Council's Standards and Guidelines for Crochet and Knitting is available to view and download at yarnstandards.com. I'll include a link in the video description below. Based on industry standards, tip number 2. If a stitch is just being skipped, slip it purlwise. Slipping purlwise means you're just moving the stitch from one needle to the other without twisting it. The stitch is transferred while maintaining a standard stitch mount with the leading leg or right hand leg of the stitch at the front of the needle and the trailing leg or left hand leg of the stitch at the back. So right now I am doing a mosaic knitting pattern where some of the stitches are slipped and remain unworked until a later row. Since I'm just skipping the stitches, I'm going to slip them purlwise so the stitch remains untwisted and maintains the standard stitch mount. Again, based on industry standards, tip number 3. If a slipped stitch is part of a decrease, slip knitwise. This often isn't spelled out in knitting patterns because it's just how decreases are defined. Right now, I need to work a slip, slip, knit to shape the toe of my sock. In this case, since my slipped stitches are going to be part of a decrease, I'm going to slip them knitwise. So I slip the first stitch knitwise, and you can see that changes the stitch mount of the stitch. Now the right hand leading leg is at the back of the needle, and the left hand or trailing leg is at the front of the needle. Then I slip my second stitch knitwise, again changing the stitch mount, and then work them together by knitting through the back loop. I hope you now have a better understanding of which way to slip a stitch, either knitwise or purlwise. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel, The Chili Dog, for more helpful tips and tutorials. Until we stitch again, happy knitting!